From then on, Tang Wedong was just Tang Wedong. Although I don't know why, after Tang Wedong appeared, she still went to Shrek Academy. As a result, she crossed paths with Huo Yuhao. But the person now is neither Wang Dong'er nor Wang Chuer, she's a completely different person. Why would she care about you? Who do you think you are, Huo Yuhao? And that would be fine. After all, Tang Wedong is indeed another person, so it's normal for her not to like Huo Yuhao. But the key is that Tang Wedong's own personality isn't good either, she's always so arrogant. She constantly looks down on others, thinking everyone else is useless. Tang Wedong even expressed multiple times in her words that she looked down on Huo Yuhao, and she even looked down on the former Shrek 7 Devils. Now that's interesting. It's fine if you don't hang out with them since you're not Wang Dong'er, but is your personality brain dead too? What kind of cheat codes do you have? How amazing is your strength? And yet you look down on a cheat user like Huo Yuhao. Although the plot pushed them together and Huo Yuhao still loved Tang Wedong, in reality, it looks like Huo Yuhao was successfully pua'd. In the aftermath, it was as if the two of them had to start dating all over again, getting to know each other anew, experiencing life and death anew, and falling in love with each other anew. This is one of the most frustrating aspects, and one of the reasons many people find Huo Yuhao pitiful. Encountering these three women, he had to get to know and fall in love with them all over again each time, which is equivalent to chasing them 3 times in a row. On top of that, Tang Wedong looked down on Huo Yuhao. Meeting a girlfriend like this, Huo Yuhao really had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes. If Huo Yuhao were replaced by any normal person, they would have run away long ago. Why would they stay and act like a dog? Regardless of whether Tang Wedong's personality harmed Wang Chuer and Wang Dong'er, being this selfish and arrogant is already a huge problem. After all, if she weren't brain dead, how could she have ignored the laws of the God realm and descended directly to the lower realm back when she was still Tang Wedong? Chapter 155, Huo the protagonist is trained like a dog. And Tang Wedong still looks down on him. Seeing the end, 2 perfectly good characters ultimately turn completely into Tang Wedong. Furthermore, Tang Wedong doesn't even have Wang Dong'er's memories, the audience members all sigh and lament involuntarily. Du Guyan looking at it this way, do Wang Dong'er and Wang Chuer truly cease to exist? Bing Bing is polite without even memories, how could they possibly exist? Bing Bing is polite anyway, I just feel that those two were indeed killed. They possessed absolutely independent personalities, yet in the end, they died completely. Du Guyan, does this count as Huo Yuhao's beloved being killed by Tang Wedong and Tang San? Du Guyan, and after all that, Huo Yuhao is still supposed to love the person who killed his beloved. Why does it feel more awkward the more I think about it? Bibi Dong, and this Tang Wedong still looks down on others. Who does she think she is? Just because she's Tang San's daughter, is that such an incredible status? Calm and composed, after all, in her own concept, she is a god descended to the mortal realm. It would be strange if she looked up to those ordinary people on the Duluo continent. Bibi Dong, what a disgusting family. They aren't even as good as that Wang Dong'er. Love eating carrots, if this is the kind of daughter she is, perhaps there's really no need to keep her, right? Love eating carrots, is it possible that just by becoming a so-called god, one can look down on all other existences? Love eating carrots, I'm also afraid, what if in the future, I end up becoming this kind of person? Even Xiao Wu herself is somewhat disappointed in Tang Wedong. From this, it is clear that this woman indeed has quite a few problems. Duluo 2 era. Shrek Academy. Wang Dong'er looked at the final determination on the light screen, knowing that Tang Wedong didn't even like Huo Yuhao, whom she loved in the future. Wang Dong'er understood that this meant her own future disappearance. Wang Dong'er smiled bitterly and mocked herself. Is this my final ending? What is the meaning of my existence? Since you wanted Tang Wedong, why did you create me, Wang Dong'er? I have my own pursuits, my own beloved, my own life. But in the end, even the person I love must be given to this Tang Wedong. Tang San. Everything is the problem of that person named Tang San. If your final result was just to kill me, just to add a special experience to your original daughter, then you shouldn't have created me. And it wasn't even creating me. You gave me initial independent memories, which is equivalent to just giving birth to me. But the experiences during my growth were all ones I encountered myself. Isn't this equivalent to giving birth without raising? Wang Dong'er clenched her fists and said, in that case, you don't deserve to be my father. Your daughter is Tang Wedong, not me, Wang Dong'er. At worst, I will find a way to kill you, Tang San. I can still be independent. Wang Dong'er stared fixedly at the light screen, the hatred for Tang San growing in her heart was real. Beneath the lake of life. My dragon god bloodline is completely gone. The auspicious beast frowned, and this so-called Tang Wedong actually looks down on life on the Duluo continent. This shows that she still considers herself a god of the god realm. We spirit beasts are destined to invade the god realm in the future. Since that's the case, when there's an opportunity in the future, I will kill this Tang Wedong too. Anyway, if I kill them all, I want to see how you will steal my bloodline. HMPH. The auspicious beast snorted and muttered, let's keep watching to see what other tricks this Tang Wadong has up her sleeve. ... Inside the light screen. Tang Wadong is Tang Wadong after all. Even if Huo Yuhao pursues her again, Tang Wadong doesn't even pay him the slightest attention. Afterward, the two continue to experience various things. Among them is a key event known as the 9 blades, 18 holes incident. That is, one time, Huo Yuhao encountered a venerable of the Holy Spirit cult, one of the contemporary limit Duluo, the Dragon Emperor Duluo, Long Xiaoyao. In the Duluo II era, the three most famous limit Duluo are undoubtedly the three protagonists of the love triangle involving Pavilion Master N.A.N. One is Pavilion Master N.A.N, whose spirit is the bright sacred dragon. There is speculation that he is a descendant of Yu Shaogang. Pavilion Master N.A.N is known as the dragon god Duluo. He and Long Xiaoyao were once together, and they both fell in love with a woman named Yi Qishui. And Yi Qishui is the true leader of the Holy Spirit cult, possessing twin spirits, one of which is the bright phoenix. However, Yi Qishui still became an evil soul master. As for Long Xiaoyao, he is the third most famous limit Duluo. His spirit is the dark sacred dragon, and he and Pavilion Master N.A.N are collectively known as the black and white twin dragons, possessing immense strength. Long Xiaoyao joined the Holy Spirit cult for Yi Qishui's sake, but he does not agree with Yi Qishui's evil actions and also wants to stop her. Long Xiaoyao's accidental encounter with Huo Yuhao and the others seems like he wants to kill Huo Yuhao, but in reality, he wants to cultivate him. So he disguised himself as a villain and threatened Huo Yuhao, telling him to use his own blade to stab himself 9 times. If he doesn't agree, Long Xiaoyao will stab Tang Wadong 9 times. Huo Yuhao agrees, stabbing himself 9 times, piercing through to create a total of 18 holes. In reality, the significance of this plot is clearly to show the two people's feelings and to display Huo Yuhao's deep affection. Yet here, Huo Yuhao acts reasonably well, foolishly and mindlessly harming himself over and over again. But the key is Tang Wadong. Over there, she is just held down by Long Xiaoyao, claiming she can't move, doing nothing but crying. Watching Huo Yuhao self-harm, are you really not going to move at all? He is at least your man, okay. Even if not your man, even a classmate would help out or say a few words, right? Of course, some people might say, she is currently being controlled by Long Xiaoyao, how can she move? Hey, held down by Long Xiaoyao, so you can't move. Can't you burn your potential? Can't you self-destruct or something? At a time like this, not to mention actually self-destructing, you are at least a spirit saint level, you are so close, even just pretending to self-destruct would affect Long Xiaoyao. Then some people say, the current Tang Wadong doesn't like Huo Yuhao, she isn't that close to him, so why would she overdraw her potential or try to self-destruct? Not that close. If you aren't that close, why are you heartbroken and crying so bitterly there? If you weren't that close, stopping him with a few words would have been enough, right? The original text clearly states that Tang Wadong was truly crying in great pain, heart-wrenching, unable to bear it. But Tang Wadong only shouted a few times, and truly didn't try to resist Long Xiaoyao at all. Note, it's not about whether she could resist, but that she didn't even try to push her limits. Tang Wadong could actually do something like this. You are truly something. Chapter 156, The Devastation of 9 Blades and 18 Holes. Tang Wadong does nothing but cry. Plus, Huo Yuhao was there telling the story of his relationship with Wang Donger at the time. With the subsequent blades, Tang Wadong was even more enthralled, not even willing to cry out twice, just listening to the story blankly. If not for Long Xiaoyao speaking up, Tang Wadong would have forgotten she could even speak, right? And as for the final result, once Huo Yuhao had used all 9 blades, what about Tang Wadong? Tang Wadong just fainted and went limp, collapsing to the ground. You really are something. Huo Yuhao is half dead right now and hasn't even collapsed yet, but you, who did absolutely nothing but shout a few times, collapsed first. If luck were bad, at a time like this, Huo Yuhao wouldn't even have anyone to collect his body. Besides acting as a mascot on the sidelines, what else can you do? The point isn't about whether you actually need to do something or succeed at it. At this time, Tang Wadong had truly reached the spirit saint level, and she was a spirit saint with a triple spirit, as well as a spirit saint with a dragon god bloodline. Defeating Long Xiaoyao is obviously impossible, but Long Xiaoyao was only suppressing you. You could have erupted with power to affect Long Xiaoyao, right? There had to be a chance. So this isn't a question of ability at all, it's entirely a question of attitude. In the original text, after Tang Wadong was suppressed, she didn't even try to resist. A woman like this, who can't even try to help, let alone anything else, is practically a complete waste of space. Speaking of this, the viewers watched, lost in thought. Du Guyan, a level 99 Dragon Emperor Duluo. In the future Duluo Dalui era, there are also several level 99 titled Duluo. Du Guyan, as expected, different eras always have true powerhouses. However, these future limit Duluo didn't reach that level through god trials. Bing Bing is polite, are limit Duluo really that exaggerated? This Tang Wadong has a triple spirit and a dragon god bloodline, yet she was controlled to the point where she couldn't even look around. Hot girl, I don't know what the strength gap is like, so I really can't judge that point. Needle-tailed swift. The light screen's sharp commentary isn't saying Tang Wedong couldn't resist. It's that Tang Wedong just watched Huo Yuhao self-mutilate without even trying to resist. Needle-tailed swift. Whether one can resist and whether one is willing to resist are two different things. Bing Bing is polite indeed. Objectively speaking, rationally judging, resisting at such a time is useless. But if you really see your lover in such a state, and you aren't even willing to go all out, it's still very heartbreaking. Bing Bing is polite. This kind of person can be a friend, but they really aren't worthy of being a close friend or a lover. Bibi Dong, didn't she move? She cried, didn't she? Isn't that her eyes moving? Bibi Dong, and after Huo Yuhao stabbed himself 9 times, didn't Tang Wedong faint before Huo Yuhao? She doesn't need to move to faint, right? Calm and composed. Speaking of this is embarrassing. I cannot understand it. Huo Yuhao hasn't even collapsed yet, and Long Xiaoyao didn't bully you, he just controlled you. Calm and composed, and you fainted first. Are you just ignoring whether Huo Yuhao lives or dies? Is this something a person would do? The only princess, I think so too. You didn't stab anyone, yet you fainted first. Was your spirit damaged? And she came down from the god realm. Truly useless. The only princess even as a support system spirit master, I wouldn't be scared into fainting. I know that no matter what, one must protect oneself first before dealing with emotions. Most people were discussing it, and it wasn't about Tang Wedong's capability, but a very real issue of attitude. Especially since she only knew how to scream and cry, and in the end, she fainted before Huo Yuhao. Even Long Xiaoyao must feel aggrieved. He didn't even lay a hand on Tang Wedong, he just pressed down on her shoulders. In the end, it made it look like you, Tang Wedong, were more miserable than Huo Yuhao. Duluo Dalui era, Shrek Academy. Wang Donger looked at such a Tang Wedong, feeling even more disgusted. She sighed speechlessly. If erasing me just results in such a spineless woman in the end, how could I possibly be willing? Even if I weren't disguised as a man, I would know that at a time like this, one must fight with their life. Not just stand there doing nothing and wailing. And in the end, you fainted before Huo Yuhao. Does that mean you're the real victim, and Huo Yuhao is the lucky one? The more Wang Donger watched, the more she loathed Tang Wedong. In any case, she wanted to be Wang Donger, not Tang Wedong. In the light screen. The sharp commentary hadn't ended yet. Tang Wedong's weakness and uselessness were not limited to these instances. Tang Wedong's biggest problem is that she lost the impulsiveness and personality of Wang Donger and Wang Chuer. Although Wang Chuer snatched the man, at least she had guts. Although Wang Donger committed suicide, she loved Huo Yuhao enough. But Tang Wedong is different. She lacks both Wang Chuer's courage and Wang Donger's pure love. However, Huo Yuhao was lucky. After the 9 blades and 18 holes, Tang Wedong was moved beyond words. Tang Wedong finally recovered Wang Donger's memories and got back together with Huo Yuhao. Of course, we know that at this time, it was just Tang Wedong having Wang Donger's memories implanted, not the actual personality of Wang Donger. It's fine, Huo Yuhao doesn't mind, as long as she's pretty, that's all that matters. After they got together, they reunited at the Second Sea God's Fate Blind Date Festival or something. After the reunion, it was even more awkward. Huo Yuhao thought his girlfriend had finally returned. He had experienced so much life and death with her. They should finally be able to stay together forever, right? Hey, at this moment, another ridiculous move appeared. When Huo Yuhao tried to touch Tang Wedong, there would be a terrifying power on Tang Wedong's body blocking him. Why? Tang Wedong explained to Huo Yuhao that her father, Tang San, had placed a seal on her. If any man wanted to harm Tang Wedong or do that kind of thing, the Sea God's seal would protect Tang Wedong, and there might even be the Sea God's wrath. This thing is effectively a chastity lock, preventing Huo Yuhao from getting close. One can only say, as expected of Tang Wedong, as expected of Tang San's daughter. Even controlling what his own daughter does. To be able to bring out something like a chastity lock, is this something a normal father would do? Is this something a normal daughter could accept? Some people say, what does this have to do with Tang Wedong? Wasn't this said by Tang San? Fine, so because Tang San said it, Tang Wedong must accept it, right? As long as her father doesn't agree for a single day, she can't truly be with the person she loves for a single day. What is this? Is Tang San choosing the man, or is Tang Wedong choosing the man? If you were truly willing, could Tang San really force you away from Huo Yuhao if you made a scene, cried, and threw a tantrum? There are so many women in the world who find, yellow-haired, men, which father agrees to that? Which daughter can truly be controlled and stopped by her father? How come others can do it, but you are so obedient? Your own likes and dislikes don't matter, what matters is your father's opinion. People talk about, mama's boys, so why is it that now there's a, daddy's girl, and it seems like there's no problem with that? Chapter 157, A Good Girl's Chastity Lock. Even if you are my lover, it won't do. A chastity lock. It's truly worthy of God King Tang San's daughter that he could come up with such a thing. The female characters watching all felt incredibly awkward and found it hard to put into words. Good grief, does he have to control his daughter's dating life to such an extent? Du Guyan, another excellent move. Putting a chastity lock on his daughter. This is an operation my brain could never conceive in a lifetime. Bing Bing is polite, why else is he called God King Tang-san? What's wrong with putting a chastity lock on his own daughter? Besides him, is there any other man worthy of touching his daughter? Du Guyan, and I don't get it, this mysterious chastity lock is useless against enemies anyway. Du Guyan, which means it can only defend against Huo Yuhao and is completely useless against anyone else, right? Du Guyan, the key point is that this Tang Wedong is actually willing to accept such a thing. Does she not have a shred of independent personality? Hot girl, I feel like she's not even as good as the previous Wang Donger and Wang Chuer. At least those two girls seemed willing to make their own decisions and take responsibility for themselves. Bibi Dong, a person like Tang San, killing him would truly be doing the public a service. Hey, what's your name? Xiao Wu, right? This is the man you chose, and this is your future daughter. Calm and composed, if I had a daughter like this, I'd rather disown her. A husband like this has no value in existing either. It's too shameful, too pathetic. The characters were all speechless and could only complain. What Tang San has done, let alone whether he is a father, makes one question if he is even human. ... Duluo 2 era. Shrek Academy. Wang Donger looked at the light screen, feeling more and more disgusted and angry. Although I don't like that so-called Huo Yuhao right now. But for a father to put a chastity lock on his daughter, is that normal? Is this something a human could come up with? And this future Tang Wedong, does she not have any independent thinking of her own? Does she need instructions from her scumbag father, Tang San, for everything she wants to do in her relationship? Damn it, if this person is said to be my future self, how could I possibly accept it? It seems that killing Tang San and erasing Tang Wedong's consciousness is an urgent matter. After watching this sharp critique, I must leave Shrek Academy tomorrow no matter what to gain basic freedom. 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Xiao Wu watched the critique on the light screen. Especially when she saw the mention of a chastity lock, Xiao Wu felt the world go black, almost fainting from anger. Is this really something Tang San could do? Even if he wants to protect his daughter, he can't go to this extent. Is this protecting his daughter or controlling her? Ning Rongrong, beside her, was equally helpless and complained. I have to say, Tang San's brain really doesn't seem like that of a normal person. Xiao Wu, it's fortunate that you've already left him. Sigh, otherwise, it really would be. Ning Rongrong shook her head helplessly as she spoke. Zhu Qing also expressed her thoughts from the side. Actually, objectively speaking, isn't the chastity lock also partly Tang Wedong's problem? Any slightly normal girl wouldn't let her father impose such a seal on her. From the start of the critique until now, I haven't seen a single stance of independence or self-improvement from Tang Wedong. Earlier, when faced with the 9 blades and 18 holes, she didn't even try to resist, just knew how to cry and make a scene. Now, when taking a step further with her lover, she has to listen to her father and be controlled by him. Xiao Wu, a daughter like this. A daughter like this, I would feel ashamed to even acknowledge her. Upon hearing this, Xiao Wu angrily scolded. Forget it, this is the original timeline anyway. In the future timeline, I won't have this daughter. Perhaps this is a good thing. I was a bit upset at the time, wondering what would happen to my children if I wasn't with Tang San. Now, looking at it, them not appearing is actually a better situation. Zhu Qing and Rongrong nodded, sighing helplessly, and could only continue watching the light screen. Inside the light screen. The critique continued. Speaking of this, one can almost see the most important problem with the character Tang Wedong. To put it bluntly, the existence of the character Tang Wedong completely lacks autonomy and subjective initiative. The previous Wang Donger, although irrational in her relationship and not quite right in the head, was at least an independent personality. And then there's Wang Chuer, although she was snatching someone else's man, when contrasted with Tang Wedong, she could barely be called daring in love and hate. Tang Wedong is different, she absorbed the memories of 2 people, but in the end, her performance is not even half as good as Wang Donger or Wang Chuer. She has to rely on others for everything, and has to listen to others for every decision. Let's not even talk about the previous matters, Tang Wedong's subsequent performance in terms of ability was actually extremely pathetic. By the time Tang Wedong and Huo Yuhao were back together, it was almost time for the ending. The two experienced things together, dealing with the invasion of the Sun Moon Empire. Of course, Tang Wedong's own contribution was still limited. Later, they encountered danger again, and Tang Wedong was injured and had problems. At this time, Huo Yuhao had to save her life. What was the method of saving her? It was to give his own spirit core to Tang Wedong. What is a spirit core? A spirit core is a special cultivation method developed by spirit masters in the Duluo 2 era to enhance their own strength. To put it directly, it is to condense gaseous or liquid spirit power into a solid state, which compresses the spirit power, resulting in a deeper foundation and faster recovery of spirit power. After all, the strength of a solid is stronger than that of a gas or liquid. This is very normal. For spirit masters of the Duluo 2 era, the condensation of a spirit core is generally completed when breaking through to title Duluo. It has even evolved to the point where one often needs to condense a spirit core to break through to title Duluo. As for reaching level 99, one needs to condense a second spirit core to reach the level of limit Duoluo. Huo Yuhao, this cheater, is different. He condensed his first spirit core as a spirit saint and his second as a titled Duoluo. And it was the even more difficult yin and yang complementary spirit core. This was an accumulation that Huo Yuhao only achieved after overcoming countless hardships and relying on an unimaginable number of cheats. And Tang Wedong didn't have that. When she reached the level of titled Duoluo, she only had one normal spirit core. So, in order to let Tang Wedong keep up with the configuration, what was the final choice? That's right, of course, it was to directly give the spirit core that Huo Yuhao had painstakingly condensed to Tang Wedong. Otherwise, why would she be able to suppress you, Huo Yuhao? Of course, she has to take your things away. Chapter 158, Seizing Huo Yuhao's Soul Core. Tang Wedong is truly trash. Of course, some people say, didn't it get returned to Huo Yuhao later? A soul core was replenished for Huo Yuhao, so Huo Yuhao didn't lose anything. Yes, that sounds good. This certainly looks like a test for Huo Yuhao. However, weren't these two soul cores originally Huo Yuhao's? Huo Yuhao shouldn't have suffered any losses to begin with, right? You, Tang Wedong, if you want a yin-yang complementary dual soul core, can't you find a way to cultivate it yourself? Using someone else's configuration directly is just useless, can't we even talk about that? Then some people say, didn't Huo Yuhao do it voluntarily? Was it not Huo Yuhao himself who wanted to transfer the soul core to Tang Wedong? Yes, it was Huo Yuhao's will. But, was it actually Huo Yuhao's initiative? In the plot, wasn't it the Titan Giant Ape and the others who lured Huo Yuhao into transferring the soul core? Huo Yuhao agreed, but he didn't initiate it. At that point, could he even refuse? Especially after transferring the soul core, when Huo Yuhao fainted, Tang San appeared and said Huo Yuhao had passed the test. He acknowledged Huo Yuhao's sacrifice for Tang Wedong. Hey, wonderful, the yin-yang complementary dual soul core that someone else worked so hard to cultivate is just used for your test. Moreover, when Huo Yuhao was transferring the soul core, he explicitly stated that he would become an idiot because of it. Although in reality, Tang San guaranteed that Huo Yuhao would be fine. But what if Tang San, this god, hadn't intervened? Wouldn't Huo Yuhao have really become an idiot? In the end, he still had to be grateful to Tang San, and Huo Yuhao even shouted, "Long live my father-in-law." One can only say that he was truly pu'at to the extreme by this mother and daughter. Tang Wedong didn't suffer any hardship, and directly obtained the most difficult yin-yang complementary dual soul core. And she controlled Huo Yuhao even tighter. It's no wonder she's Tang San's own daughter. Speaking of this, the contempt in Song Yi's heart became even more obvious, it was indeed disgusting to the extreme. The female characters listening to this even felt like vomiting. BB Dong, soul core. So, there is such a method of cultivation, compressing one's own spirit power into a solid state. BB Dong, it should be similar to the inner core of some spirit beasts, right? In this way, with spirit power compressed, one's strength will inevitably be stronger. BB Dong, hey, I didn't expect there to be such a good thing. I must condense a soul core first. Condense this so-called yin-yang complementary dual soul core. BB Dong, I have twin spirits, condensing two complementary soul cores shouldn't be difficult, right? Du Guyan, a soul core can indeed be condensed. My grandfather received guidance from Brother Yi, so he condensed a soul core. However, it is quite difficult. Du Guyan, that's why I know, especially condensing dual soul cores is even harder. This Tang Wedong doesn't have to suffer any hardship at all and can directly obtain someone else's dual soul cores. Hot girl, Brother Yi. Again with this Brother Yi. At Du Guyan, you said before that your Brother Yi could deal with BB Dong and Tang San. Hot girl, that can't be true, right? Needle-tailed Swift, of course it's true. I have also met Brother Yi. Brother Yi can definitely change the entire continent and save the Duoluo continent. Calm and composed, this Brother Yi actually knows the method of condensing a soul core. It sounds very impressive, it would be great if I could get to know him. Du Guyan, in a word, I think. A beast like Tang San can only be dealt with by my Brother Yi in the future. Du Guyan, just look at how Tang San controls Huo Yuhao in the future, and you'll know that in the future, Tang San treats the Duoluo continent as his own backyard. Hot girl, indeed. This Tang Wedong is truly disgusting. The soul core that someone else worked so hard to create has to be given to her in the end. Hot girl, she almost could have become an idiot. This Tang Wedong, and those people behind Tang Wedong, are all so disgusting that I want to vomit. Love eating carrots, sigh. The female characters felt more and more embarrassed the more they watched. This Tang Wedong was indeed incapable of doing anything herself and only knew how to freeload. Xiao Wu watched it herself and sighed helplessly time and again. In short, she really wanted to give up on this daughter, she had absolutely no value in existing. Duoluo 2 era. Shrek Academy. Wang Donger also completely detached herself, realizing she and Tang Wedong were not the same person. Wang Donger felt only contempt and disgust. Anyway, this Tang Wedong has nothing to do with me, and I couldn't possibly be as useless as she is. If you want to gain strength, you have to cultivate it yourself. Relying on the gifts and charity of others, is that something you can really use? It's just that I don't know what method to think of to become completely independent and separate the personality of Tang Wedong. Wang Donger no longer recognized Tang Wedong at all and just wanted to be independent. She was even thinking about whether she could detach herself, trying to find a way to get a physical body. Could she transfer this part of her soul and memories? As Wang Donger pondered, she looked helplessly at the light screen, wishing there were some methods in it. In the light screen. In short, Tang Wedong's role, in a certain sense, is even less useful than Xiao Wu's in the first Duluo. Xiao Wu at least really had combat power. And later on, even if Tang Wedong obtained the Yin-Yang complementary dual soul core and achieved the status of a super Duluo, she was just equivalent to a support character. Afterward, Tang Wedong kept following Huo Yuhao, settling various matters on the continent. It seems like this would allow the two of them to be together smoothly and live together forever, right? Ridiculous. Could it really be that simple? Tang Wedong's love for Huo Yuhao is actually still not pure enough. At least, it doesn't compare to Wang Donger's. Later, because of a supporting character named Zhu Zi, who stole that thing from Huo Yuhao and gave birth to a child of Huo Yuhao. Huo Yuhao didn't know about this matter, but it was indeed Huo Yuhao's child. Reasonably speaking, Huo Yuhao is quite helpless, right? After all, he didn't know about this, and he was also a victim. But in the end, after defeating the boss of the Duluo continent, Tang San exposed this matter. Huo Yuhao was speechless. What should he do now? And Tang Wedong found it even harder to accept. What was Tang Wedong's choice? She left with Tang San. That's right, she ignored Huo Yuhao and left with Tang San. Is this something a normal person, or rather, a normal lover would do? Was Huo Yuhao doing it on purpose? Huo Yuhao didn't even know about it before. You damn well kept shouting about how much you loved Huo Yuhao, but when Huo Yuhao was also a victim, you just abandoned him. This is like a man whose girlfriend was defiled, and instead of standing up for her or protecting her, he just abandons her. Is this something that someone who claims to love can do? Chapter 159, Tang Wedong abandons Huo Yuhao. Huo Yuhao is forced to become a dad. Finally, Tang Wedong just left like that. Some people say, in the very end, didn't Tang Wedong end up with Huo Yuhao anyway? Yes, they did end up together in the end, but can the trauma caused to the other person by such a departure at a critical moment really be considered small? Take that same example, your woman is defiled, and you suddenly run away. How heartbroken would your woman be? Even if you come back in the end and say you just lost control at the time, weren't rational enough, and that you still love her. However, the event has already happened, who wouldn't harbor a grudge in their heart? But Huo Yuhao is someone who can endure, so he still successfully accepted Tang Wedong, lived with her, and completely became a henchman for the Tang clan. And the character Tang Wedong has a total of 4 identities. Wang Dong started out bullying and picking on Huo Yuhao. Wang Donger, brain dead and mentally disabled, ignored her friends and family to choose suicide. Wang Chuer acted as a third party and sacrificed herself without regard for the Spirit Beast clan. And Tang Wedong completely became a tool for Tang San to control Huo Yuhao. With a full 4 identities, not a single one is a normal person. Not to mention that Wang Chuer and Wang Donger died because of this. A character like Tang Wedong is already so disgusting that there's almost nothing more to say. Perhaps, among the many details I ignored, there are still many problems I forgot to mention. But with the sharp critique up to this point, Tang Wedong's true colors can almost be seen clearly, right? Tang Wedong, sharp critique complete. Writing this, Song Yi finally let out a long breath, feeling exhausted. It seemed like a sharp critique of one person, Tang Wedong, but in reality, it was a critique of at least 3 people, which is why it took so much time and effort. Hopefully, the reward for the sharp critique will be good. Du Guyan, I can only say, this Tang Wedong is indeed full of problems. Du Guyan, especially in the end, she directly abandoned her own man and left. Is this something a so-called lover should do? Bing Bing is polite, that's right. Regardless of whether it's a man or a woman, running away when the other person needs you most causes irreversible damage to the other half. Hot girl, even if it was Tang San's coercion, couldn't you have stood by your lover's side, by Huo Yuhao's side? Hot girl, at such a time, this is when Huo Yuhao needed her attitude and help the most, right? For Huo Yuhao to still accept someone like Tang Wedong, he must have been truly desperate. Bibi Dong, isn't this just like Yu Xiaogang? Yu Xiaogang abandoned me, abandoned that woman, Lu Erlong. In reality, he only thought of himself. He really is a disgusting thing. Calm and composed indeed, just like that animal Yu Xiaogang. This Tang Wedong also makes one feel disgusted at a single glance. Goddess of Light, I wonder if there is a way to preserve Wang Donger and abandon this so-called Tang Wedong. Bibi Dong, that's simple. Don't let that auspicious beast sacrifice itself. Don't let Wang Donger die, and just hide from Tang San, isn't that enough? Become stronger than Tang San in the future, what can Tang San do then? Bibi Dong, at worst, become stronger than that Tang Wedong, and can't you suppress Tang Wedong then? Goddess of Light, that makes sense. Tang Wedong should never have been born. Duluo 2 era, Shrek Academy. The more Wang Donger determined her resolve, the more she knew she had to be a good Wang Donger. The identity of Tang Wedong must never appear again. Wang Donger snorted and smiled. I don't believe I can't become a god. When I become a god, I won't care about any Tang Wedong. At worst, I'll just create a body for myself then. The only troublesome thing is Tang San. Wang Donger frowned slightly and muttered. That animal Tang San is already a god king now. How should I deal with him then? Otherwise, if it really doesn't work, should I seek cooperation with that Huo Yuhao? Huo Yuhao shouldn't really want to be a dog for Tang San, right? Wang Donger paced back and forth outside. Thinking about it carefully, this was the only path. Huo Yuhao's talent and strength were not bad, only by uniting with him would there be a chance to deal with Tang San. It seems she couldn't leave Shrek tomorrow after all, she had to find a way to make Huo Yuhao cooperate with her. Stay for a few more days and see the situation. See if there are any sharp critiques of Tang San or Huo Yuhao later to understand the opponent's specific weaknesses. Wang Donger nodded, thinking this was the only way. Ice and fire yin yang well. Song Yi took a deep breath, stretched, and looked at the light screen in front of him. This sharp critique of the light screen had ended, so he should be able to get something good, right? This was equivalent to a sharp critique of 3 or 4 characters. And generally speaking, the later it gets, the better the rewards, right? Song Yi hurriedly looked at the light ball in the light screen. And the text in the light screen. Congratulations to the master for completing the sharp critique task. This sharp critique was arduous. Obtained reward, Little Green Bottle, Fusion Duoluo Continent version. Little Green Bottle Fusion Duoluo Continent version effects. 1. Can ripen plants. The dew condensed in one day can ripen them by 1,000 approximately 10,000 years. Influenced by the master's rank. 2. Transmigration through time and space. Each time can travel 1,000 approximately 10,000 years. Due to the butterfly effect, if traveling to the Duoluo 2 or Duoluo 3 eras, it will be a travel to a parallel world that has already become independent. 3. Condensed time grains, which can be used to cultivate the Tao of time. Limited by the Duoluo world, cultivation is relatively slow. 4. Absolute ownership. The little green bottle will have no bottle spirit and will completely merge with the master. Never lost. Seeing this description, Song Yi was stunned on the spot. What the hell, the little green bottle? Although it's fused with the rules of the Duoluo continent and looks a bit weakened, it's still terrifyingly powerful. My goodness, this is the top-tier supreme treasure from Mortal's Journey to Immortality, and now it's in my hands. Transmigrating through time and space, ripening plants, those go without saying, but it can also assist me in cultivating the Tao of time. Although cultivation will be slower because of the restrictions of the Duoluo continent, as long as I become a god, I will have infinite lifespan. As long as I keep cultivating, the upper limit of the Duoluo continent will be infinitely broken by me. Even I alone could raise the status of the Duoluo continent. Thinking of this, Song Yi could no longer suppress his excitement and hurriedly extracted the reward. The next second, the light ball turned into a crystal clear little green bottle, which then fiercely merged into Song Yi's body. As long as Song Yi is willing, he can summon it to use at any time. Moreover, this little green bottle was completely fused with him, so there was no need to worry about it being lost or stolen by others. Good, very good. This is what you call a real cheat. With this little green bottle, as long as there is enough time, I will be the only god. Chapter 160, Sharp Critique Reward, The Little Green Bottle. Han Li's treasure is in hand. Song Yi was extremely excited. He summoned the little green bottle again and tried various things. He spent nearly the entire night exploring how to use the little green bottle. Eventually, he roughly figured out the rules. For example, the years of maturity for the forced ripening were indeed calculated based on his current rank of spirit power. Song Yi was currently over rank 40, and the moonlight energy absorbed in one day could only ripen plants by over 4,000 years. Still, it wasn't bad. Calculated this way, he could ripen a 100,000-year plant in just over 20 days. By then, he could at least wholesale immortal herbs. As for spirit rings, Song Yi wouldn't be lacking 100,000-year spirit rings in the future. If he waited slowly, it might even be possible to ripen a million-year plant spirit beast. Thinking of this, Song Yi gasped and mentally exclaimed how terrifying it was. As for transmigration through time and space, Song Yi was in no rush, there would be plenty of time later. Focusing on completing the sharp critique tasks was the priority. At this moment, there was a prompt on the light screen. Please set the time for the next sharp critique. Song Yi looked at it, slightly surprised. It seems that after the upgrade, the sharp critique system completely obeys my commands. From now on, every sharp critique will depend on my thoughts. There's no need to rush. I'll wait a month or two first. I want to try ripening a few immortal herbs. He quickly set the next sharp critique for 2 months later. The various female characters watched, discussing in the comment section, feeling quite helpless. There was no other way, they could only wait for 2 months. Afterward, Song Yi focused on ripening immortal herbs as he had planned. 2 months was roughly 60 days, and Song Yi had ripened 3 immortal herbs. He already had enough immortal herbs for himself, so he simply used them on Du Guyan and Bai Chenqiang. These two had completely become his own people and needed to be cultivated. One day, 2 months later. Beside the ice and fire yin-yang well, heat and cold intertwined into a dense mist. Bai Chenqiang and Du Guyan walked over side by side, their faces still wearing confusion from their cultivate being interrupted. Brother Yi, what's the rush? We were just at a critical point in our cultivate. Bai Chenqiang wiped the sweat from her forehead. Du Guyan also looked at him, her eyes filled with inquiry. Exactly, you called us both over, surely it's not just a chat. The ice and fire yin-yang well is very cold here, it's uncomfortable to stay for too long. Song Yi turned around, and in his hands were several immortal herbs emitting a strange glow. This is. Du Guyan's pupils constricted slightly, and her footsteps stopped involuntarily. Bai Chenqiang stepped forward, her eyes fixed intently on those immortal herbs, her voice changing pitch. These are immortal herbs, I've never seen these before. That aura, just being near them makes my whole body feel comfortable, and the spirit power inside me is agitated. Song Yi laid out the 4 immortal herbs one by one. Earth Dragon Golden Melon, 2 Silk Tulips, and a Narcissus Jade Bone. These are prepared for you. For us. The 2 women exclaimed in surprise simultaneously. Du Guyan pointed at herself, her eyes wide open. You mean, these immortal herbs are for us? How is this possible? Bai Chenqiang was so excited that her voice trembled. How can this be? These immortal herbs look incredibly precious. I've never heard of such things in my family. Just the aura they emit can cause spirit power to fluctuate. If these were taken out. 1 silk tulip each, Song Yi interrupted her. Du Guyan, the Earth Dragon Golden Melon is yours. Bai Chenqiang, the Narcissus Jade Bone is yours. Wait. Du Guyan stepped forward, her breathing quickening. What did you just say? We can both take the silk tulip. What effect does it have? You have to explain it clearly to me. Such a precious thing, I can't just accept it blindly. Song Yi looked at them, his tone calm. The silk tulip should be able to make your spirit evolve a little. It can even evolve. Bai Chenqiang covered her mouth, her eyes instantly turning red, her voice laced with tears. Brother Yi, you aren't joking, right? Spirit evolution is something I only encountered once before, that is an opportunity that is hard to come by. Du Guyan was even more shocked, she stood frozen in place, taking a long time to find her voice. You're serious? My heavenly poison god dragon spirit can still evolve. My grandfather has spent his whole life searching for heaven and earth treasure that can make a spirit evolve, but he has had no success, yet Brother Yi, you are wholesaling them. The Earth Dragon Golden Melon can further enhance your dragon bloodline. Song Yi looked at her. For you, it is more suitable than the silk tulip. Du Guyan's breathing quickened, her hands gripping her clothes tightly, her knuckles turning white. Dragon bloodline, further enhance. She couldn't continue, her throat felt blocked by something. Bai Chenqiang pointed tremblingly at the other immortal herb, her voice shaking. Then what about this Narcissus Jade Bone? Is it for me? What is its use? It is enough to make you undergo a rebirth. Song Yi nodded. It is most suitable for an agility attack system spirit master. Undergo a rebirth. Bai Chenqiang repeated these 4 words under her breath, tears already welling up in her eyes. She tried her best to hold them back, but the crying tone in her voice grew heavier. Brother Yi, why are you so good to us? These immortal herbs, any one of them taken out would shake the entire continent, yet you brought out 4 at once, and they were all tailor-made for us. How can we deserve this? Du Guyan suddenly looked up at Song Yi, her lips moving, but she couldn't speak. Her heart was surging with tumultuous waves. This man, he actually considered things so thoroughly. He clearly could have just given them 2 random immortal herbs to dismiss them, yet every single one corresponded to exactly what they needed most. The Earth Dragon Golden Melon, this was exactly what she had dreamed of. Had he already been cultivating her as his own person for a long time? Was it possible that from the very beginning, he intended to treat her this way? Thinking of this, Du Guyan's heartbeat skipped a beat. Brother Yi. Du Guyan finally spoke, her voice low and trembling, her eyes slightly red. In my life, I, Du Guyan, have never submitted to anyone, nor have I ever felt I owed anyone. But today, what I owe you, I will never be able to repay in this lifetime. From today on, this life of mine is yours. Whatever you want me to do, I will do. She silently added in her heart, in the future, I must be even more obedient as his woman, the kind that is completely devoted. Such a man is worth it. Bai Chenqiang was already sobbing uncontrollably, big tears rolling down. I, a spirit master from a fallen family, have known since childhood that my aptitude was mediocre, and I could only rely on desperate cultivate to avoid being left behind. I never thought that one day someone would think of me like this, would sacrifice so much for me. Song Yi, how should I repay you? She thought in her heart, with such kindness, what can I use to repay it? I'm afraid only by giving myself to him could I repay even one